So I'm the kind of person who tries to do everything, and I always have 100 different things I could be doing during the day. Whether it's my full-time job, my YouTube work, my work with the College Foundation Sticky to the Max, or my family and social life, there's always something going on. These past few weeks though, I've been feeling super overwhelmed, and I've been having a really hard time figuring out how to have more time and energy available to me for all these different priorities. And that's how I found the book Essentialism. This book has been an amazing way for me to figure out what to focus on in life and what my true priorities actually are. In this video, I'm going to break down 3 different topics and lessons I've learned in this book. The first is the whole idea of understanding why we feel overwhelmed in the first place. Secondly, we're going to look at some tactics to figure out what your true priorities actually are. And lastly, we'll talk about maintaining the system that you build and finding ways to put boundaries around these priorities that you make. Now, before jumping into it, if you're new to my channel, my name is Manit. I make videos every single week that hopefully make your life a little more productive. If you find value in this video, please be sure to press the like and subscribe button down below. So the first step in becoming more of an essentialist is really understanding why we're overwhelmed in the first place. In the book, the author gives a really great visualization for how we spend our energy during the day. Now, all of us have a very finite amount of energy available to us during the day. Once we use that energy up, our ability to work goes away with it. The way I've always spent my days is trying to use my energy across all my priorities, trying to get as much done and be as productive as I can all day long. When we spend our days like this though, what actually ends up happening is we're putting small bits of energy into small bits of priorities. This becomes really overwhelming because we aren't really making any progress and we keep going back and forth between multiple tasks. What we should be doing instead is figuring out what our true priority actually is and getting rid of everything else so we can focus all of our energy on one task. This allows us to put all of our concentration, all of our energy, all of our focus into one specific area, and we get so much more done. We're putting so much more contribution into this one focus and one priority. One small lesson I actually took away from the book is a few decades ago, the word priority was only a singular word. It only meant one priority. Then it wasn't until recently where that turned into priorities, where there are multiple things that we're making a priority. It shouldn't be that way. We should have as little priorities as possible and really put our focus on things that really matter and get rid of everything else. The key point here is just knowing that having less priorities will allow you to do more meaningful work. The next concept here is really figuring out some tactics to uncover your true priorities. We all have things in our lives that we feel are super important to us, but how do we go about making decisions of what are true priorities and what aren't? One suggestion I really like from this book is it says to make a to-do list and write everything that you know you have to do, but instead of asking yourself what I'm going to do today, ask yourself what you aren't going to do today. And that question will truly let you uncover what your priorities are. Sometimes what you don't do during the day is just as important as what you do accomplish. Another tactic that really resonated with me is the idea of giving yourself permission not to do everything. For me personally, doing this was like taking a 50-pound weight off my shoulders. It was such a hard thing for me to do because I am the kind of guy who likes to be involved with everything and put my best work in as many different projects as I possibly can. But when you give yourself permission not to do everything, it really shifts your perspective to focus on what matters. It really allowed me to free up so much time and mental space. Now, this is a lot easier said than done. You really have to have discipline, take a step back and withdraw from certain things you may have been doing actively every day. You may even feel like you're missing out on certain things because you aren't working on stuff anymore, but the reality is you're choosing not to work on certain things so you can focus your attention and energy on other things. And doing that, making that conscious choice, is exactly what essentialism is all about. The last concept I want to talk about in this video is maintaining boundaries around the priorities you set for yourself. Once we go through that very hard process of figuring out what is essential for us and getting rid of all the things that aren't, it is incredibly hard to actually maintain your new system. And one thing this book taught me that really stuck with me, that's very blunt, is if you don't prioritize your own life, other people around you will. If you don't intentionally figure out how you're going to be spending your day, what time you're going to be spending on what, the people around you will do that for you instead. If you're at work, for example, and you're working on a project and you aren't putting a boundary around that time that you're spending on that, you are most definitely going to get roped into other projects by your boss or your coworkers. Or at home right now, if you're working at home full time while living at home with family, you have to be very clear about your work hours so you don't get pulled into housework during the day. Now, saying no to your boss or your family is not easy, and I, for one, do not like confrontation. But when it comes to essentialism, it's much more valuable to be uncomfortable saying no for a few minutes than having to deal with the consequences of saying yes for days or weeks or even months after that. Long story short here is make sure you're focusing on work that's essential to you and not work that's essential for other people. If you enjoyed this video, I want to strongly recommend the book Essentialism by Greg McKeown. This is an amazing book that has so many other smaller lessons that I can't possibly fit in this video. I'll leave a link to this book down below. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to press the subscribe button down below. I post videos every single week, and I'll see you guys next time.